Hi, I'm Tyler, internet musician extraordinaire and now essayist, I guess. You guys ever done an escape room before? Take your friends, significant other, you have to solve room escape puzzles within like 60 minutes usually. They're great team building and they allow you and those closest to you think logically and rationally. I've never played the game Clue. That would have been an easier example to pull up. It's a space where you're treated like a rational thinking person, experiencing every little epiphany at your own pace, at your own accord. It's a great bonding exercise, and I think it's something that at least everyone should experience once in their life. As if to be in the shoes of a great detective, master of none that has all the answers to all the questions, that saves the day and brings the truth to light.
There are plenty of games where you play as a detective, sure, but they don't really capture the essence of what I'm looking for. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted a taste of that lifestyle, a test of some sort to see if I had what it took. It always seemed cool to me growing up, and video games were the closest thing to becoming a detective. That's someone you can turn to fix anybody's problems. I'm gonna give a minor spoiler alert right now, take advantage of the privilege to experience 3 totally new stories for the very first time. The return of the Obra Dinn is incredibly special to me. This is in fact a very unpopular opinion, but I really enjoyed my time in quarantine. I thought it was great. I got paid by the government to play Animal Crossing with my girlfriend at the time for an indefinite amount of time. Fuck yeah. I played it during quarantine. It's the first one I want to talk about for a reason. This game definitely scratches that itch that I have been talking about this entire video. I sometimes get my friends to play the beginning of Obra Dinn because it's just the most accessible example on this list.
You've never heard of this game before, right?
No, I've never heard of this game.
This is my friend Torin. He has never played or heard of this game ever, and he is about ready to figure out the first 3 fates all on his own for the very first time. There were 60 people on the ship when it left England, and determining everyone's fate and identity is not easy because you have to answer 2 questions per passenger. Who is this? How did they die? And if at all. For every 3 passenger fates you get correct, the game will lock it in and validate it as the correct answer, making the deducing and name crossing out much easier. This is one of the more well-known games on our list, so we won't spend too much time on it, but I know not everyone's heard of it. I just want to leave you with something that makes me just love this game to death and just makes me wish there was just more of these games at least. Something magical happens whenever you correctly solve those first 3 fates. I don't know if it's something to do with how the game presents itself or what, but it's entrancing. How it demands your attention and all of it in order to beat this game. I don't know. And it's something I want all of my friends to experience, everyone to experience, at least once in their goddamn life.
Oh, so this is hard as fuck.
Yeah.
So we got to work on the first fate. Torin was doing pretty good. Honestly, not too worried about solving the first 2. It's the third one I find the most interesting. Every person that I watched play this has always had a different third fate victim, which I feel says a lot about the person playing, their strengths, how they do problem solving stuff. It's kind of like a psych evaluation. The best part is, and why I think this is the most accessible game on this list, is that it's not too difficult to figure out the first 3 fates.
That's your progress meter. There's a map of the boat list of everybody on this ship.
I'll have what she's having. Maybe not.
If you look, you can read the dialogue and go back.
Oh,
what they
so
were
I can
talking.
find clues and
Yes.
pinpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Oh no, that just added a whole nother fucking layer. Oh my god, that is such a fucking cool ass feature.
Who's that fucker?
Oh my god.
Another layer!
Not the traditional whodunit, more like a Monkey Island themed game of Clue that you play 60 times. If you are clever and observant enough,
Abigail Holocaust Whittroll.
I'm getting pretty good at reading.
you will see the paths that the game and its environmental storytelling wants to take you on.
I'm gonna say this, right? It was Abigail.
Yeah. Oh, was the tentacle wrapped around the fucking beam? See, this is where the game gets kind of like, I don't know, gray area-y. It's like, was it the rigging or was it a beast like crushing her?
It's a complication of the beast crushing her. But what actually actively killed her was that beam.
True.
Sorry, that was like my healthcare brain just kind of problem solving.
Hearing Torin defend himself was really cool, so I let him keep it. We figured out the second fate, and we were on to the third.
Okay, it's that twink again. Get up! Okay, well, we're gonna think I'm so fucking stupid.
We regrouped and gathered our thoughts until Torin did something that I didn't even think of.
This motherfucker shot him.
Yes.
And then shot himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's standing next to... He must be the first mate. You know, just based off what we know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I were going to flip out if
Go ahead. This is very interesting.
if I were to go fucking crazy or something like that and fucking be disturbed enough to kill myself after I made those choices, would it not be someone who's closer to me and I trust the most? And why would that person not be the first mate? My first mate.
That is true.
That's a really, really far fucking stretch. But do you see what I'm saying?
No. I definitely see what you're saying. I'm also impressed you're taking notice of where people are standing.
I really do like how when you put yourself in it, it really puts it in perspective.
Exactly.
Oh, what an in-depth game.
So when you put in the time, the deduction, paying attention, your reward is the game pridefully doing this.
There he is right there. You just
No
did it.
fucking
You just
way.
fucking did it, man.
That's fucking sick.
You are now hooked. Figure out what happened to the next 57 other passengers aboard the Obra Dinn.
Did you guys even notice I had a change of clothes?
Torn really impressed me. The way Torn played into his strengths to solve this game's mystery reminds me of Pentiment's dialogue skill tree options in order for your main character to help get closer to the truth. What a great segue.
Hello, mistress, hello.
It's hard being a straight white man. She's married, but you said much in saying nothing. Oh, made by the good boys over at Obsidian Entertainment. The word pentiment, or pentimento, is the presence or emergence of... It's hard to talk about this game without spoiling it, so I'm gonna mainly focus on Act 1 and some beginning parts of Act 2. You play as Andreas, an inspiring painter. That's right, a painter. And his name is not Andre with a silent S. Yep, you don't play as a knight or local law enforcement, whatever the fuck that looked like in the 1500s, just some guy at the wrong place at the wrong time, trying to fulfill a civic duty of finding the truth for his friend and his fellow man. This game's kind of like Persona 5. You have a time restraint and you don't have a lot of time to find clues and ask around the town to figure out who is responsible for a tragedy that happens in Act 1. So you're kind of stuck with the guy you had a hunch about.
Now then, back to my hunch.
And I'll be real, the detective elements in this game are pretty minor, and I think, obviously, the main focus is on Pentiment's story. You have very deep, in-depth conversations with seemingly random strangers. Deep talks about people's roles in this time frame, in this society, religion, duality of man, faith and providence, how important stories are to people, and how their perception affects the story. This game is a slow burn, and kind of a hard sell if you ask me, coming from a AAA game. The way you have only a couple of days to gather evidence, question townspeople, all to point a finger at someone to get closer to this truth, this overarching truth. Who is pulling the strings? This thread puller. The game is true to its title. It feels like you're going through different iterations of this town of Tassings, feeling like you're building off generations before you, knowledge passed down generation from generation. That no matter your actions, in the end, all the events in the game couldn't be avoided. Like, this event was years, centuries in the making. It's telling a very niche and arduous journey, a very obtuse experience that requires a lot of reading, reasoning, thinking, and crying. What the fuck, man? I respect it because it treats you like a thinking, breathing person with thoughts and emotions. Think more about the simplest things. The simplest things were all these people had. Hear them out. I can't help but relate to Andre at some point. God damn it, I did it again. I can't help but relate to Andreas at so much at points. I feel like we're walking the same kind of path, an inspired artist to a hollow version of himself where he values nothing because now he has not received anything for his efforts. Like he was owed something. It's then I realized that no one owes me anything. Him anything. Me. Fuck. I guess I like playing these games because they can show me I can deduce any problem with a little logic and persistence.
Christe eleison, unser Trottin hat versagt, Sancte Petre Gewalt, dass mag in Erian, Selmodingen den Mann, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison.
Can I tell everyone why it took 3 months to make this video? I have always loved writing. Writing scripts, essays, songs, whatever. In time, however, I always noticed a consistency. When it came to bringing my writing to life, making my writing into a tangible thing in the real world, it never had the polish that I really wanted. I put out an EP a month ago to see if I can start from scratch again and fix my shortcomings and move forward as an artist. In the case of writing a song, after writing and recording the lyrics and melodies, my master tracks always sounded thin, muddy, and quiet. Like someone that didn't know what they were doing. Like they didn't care. Rough drafts of the script were going to be a guide on how to teach yourself how to do anything, but that was such a grandiose thing to promise, and in the end it wasn't what I wanted to say. What I really wanted to say was something that people don't want to hear. That if you want something to be easy and easy to understand, you got to put in the work to understand it. I want this to be like any other video I've made. Something I wish I saw when I was younger. Looking for the answers to questions I barely understood. And God forbid it be entertaining too. A video for a person that wanted the quickest way to do a very intricate and important thing that in reality takes a very long time and can't just be quickly done. Meaning, if you want to conquer anything, you need to put in the work and know what you're up against. This had been a project that had been calling out to me for months, and it's just one of those things where I was drawn to it, and I just had to let this project take me where it needed to take me. How long that would have taken me, I don't really know. I have a bad habit of letting projects do that to me, because whenever I do this to myself, I always feel way better than I did before, even if it means sacrificing some luxuries in the process of making something that will resonate with someone else. Creating is as much of a necessity to me as breathing. I don't care how I get there. I will recover and catch my breath when I need to and move on. I learned the importance of hard panning guitars, vocals and hooks like to live in the center of the mix, importance of low end, and a bunch of other stuff you could probably find in this book. I was pretty confident. I was feeling good. I uploaded to DistroKid and waited for it to be on Spotify, and I was met with an all too familiar feeling. Like I just wasted my time. Why was I writing these songs? To prove something to someone? The mixes sound how they always sounded, thin and muddy and fucking quiet. I know these songs can sound good, so why do I hate them so much? Maybe I just wanted to prove to myself that this all wasn't a waste of time, that I can improve and move on as an artist. Was this all worth it? And what do I have to show for it? The isolation, a lack of funds, strained relationships, and tested mental stability. Should you let the thing you love the most kill you? Instead of throwing myself a pity party for this month's video, I took some time to clear my head and reevaluate some things in my life. Was I really going to let the thing I love kill me in the end? My friend Tyler, I'm not calling myself my own friend. He was enrolled in film school in Chicago a few years ago, and he asked me if he can use some of my songs I've written in a student film that he was making. So I said yes, and I didn't think of it for a couple of weeks. He sent me the film, and while it wasn't the best shot, the best written, that little film gave me something that no other film could have given me, and it changed my life forever, really. It gave me hope. A career like this could be possible for me, furthering my descent into my craft and what I truly want to be. I could see it right in front of me. Someone could see the potential in these songs. Even if it was just for a fleeting moment, it was a glimpse at what I want my life to be. It gave me something to look forward to. That anyone can do this if you just set your mind to it. A civic duty to tell people that this shit is doable. I've worked too hard and too long on myself and my craft for my projects to be just good enough. So I tried one last time. There was one piece of advice I didn't really use out of one of the books. Something I thought I was too good for. In the book Survival Guide to a Killer Record, it says to have a mastering website, bring your songs to level, because at the end of the day, no one is going to care who made the song loud enough. What matters is the soul of the song. The intention of the song is what's important. After swallowing my pride and paying my dues to the AI gods to fix my problems as a last-ditch effort, it worked. A solution that had been right under my nose, and I was too prideful to take advantage of it. You don't need professional mixers and a big studio. You don't need a camera crew and expensive equipment to shoot that indie film that you oh so desperately want. Insert something that pertains to you here. This EP is some of my best produced stuff. And it's all because I challenged myself and came to the solution to a problem I've had for some time now. Instead of thinking of something as impossible, think of it as a puzzle. Something you can solve. Which is a nice segue into our final game. Yes, I just made you sit through a plug of my own music. Ha ha ha. And here is the final spoiler warning. If you did not heed my words, please, I implore you to listen now. This game deserves your respect. There is nothing, even the Obra Dinn, like this game out there at the time of writing this. Not a whole lot of people really know this game, hence this whole video. And you are in an interesting position where you can experience solving a classic whodunit with all its twists and turns totally blind. And if you're worried that this is too daunting of a task to fork over $20 to test your detective skills, then let me put those worries at ease. The Painscreek Killings is a first-person whodunit developed by EQ Studios. You play as an investigative journalist named Janet. Your sole purpose for being here in Painscreek is to figure out the following: who killed the mayor's wife? What was the murder weapon? And what was the motive? It's up to you to solve this 1995 cold case in this ghost town. The game encourages you to take actual physical notes, and it can sometimes feel like you're in charge of your own in-game objectives throughout the game, keeping track of what clues come next. You have an in-game camera that can help you keep track of clues too. The game has its problems and bullshit puzzles here and there, but ultimately, I've never had an experience quite like Painscreek. Even the Obra Dinn, I've never had a game drop you in a space and say, figure it out. No hints, no NPCs to point you in the right direction, just you and your wits and a lot of diaries.
Look for clues. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll draw chalk around where the body is. That way we'll know where it was.
To solve the mystery, you have to know what you're up against. These games are great because they allow the player to fail and work from that failure. You are the missing link to this whole mystery. You are everything and nothing in the eyes of this story. A more in-depth video on the Painscreek Killings can be found on Vote for Holt's channel, and it was the inspiration for this video. If I can do it, if I can do this, you can do it too.
Maybe something doesn't make sense to you because you're too scared to put in the work in the first place. Whatever that fear is preventing you from doing anything productive. So I ask again, was this all worth it?
If I hadn't have tested myself and coming out of my comfort zone, I would still have these problems with my creative endeavors. And all it took was to make this video. That could be lousy in the end, but depending on people's perspective and background, it might champion something in them to better their lives and those around them. The best guide is to learn about the subject yourself, inside and out, whatever works for you.
It feels like essay writing.
Yeah. That's what I call it. I say industrial essays. That's what I make. Yeah.
We're all bringing them to life in different ways, right? And then trying to find ways to build empathy with the audience that they can now digest our thoughts and our writing. And that's kind of what the world of YouTube, I think, is.
We live in a world where every YouTube video is telling you should go all in, that this is your sign to go all in. And I absolutely think you should listen to all of them. Whenever you're good and ready to hear someone say that.
So I ask again, was this all worth it? Yeah, I think so.
All those sad times, they were never really mine. Thanks to all the good ones when I never thought I'd be alive.
Thank you for watching. Some honorable mentions, Phoenix Wright. Look, I love this game as much as the next guy, but calm the fuck on. And Unheard. It's a fine game if you're in the mood for it, but when you're not, it gets kinda old.
Taking it as it goes and